You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
I look good. I got big energy every day. Let's go!
And he is dicked.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
That's right.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin Herbert.
On the move and throws and touchdown.
Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
Well there, folks. Hello again. And welcome back to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my buddies, Kev Huggin Duggan.
Hey, guys, I missed you.
And Kyle the Coach Duggan.
I forgot that we were video again. I was just about to pick my nose.
You'll get used to it eventually.
And then I looked over and I saw Kevin's goofy face. I was like, why is he doing that? Oh, he's people are watching. Oh, yeah.
He doesn't normally do that. Why is he doing that?
It's weird. He brushed his teeth. Kevin, why are you brushing your teeth? Because people are watching, obviously.
Well, he looks so clean.
You were rolling your face before the episode.
Yeah, I got to clean up my beard a little bit. You got to make it nice.
With your little ember bead roller thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't even put two and two together.
We got to look beautiful for our audience.
Potential new sponsor.
That's right, and our potential new sponsors. So welcome, folks, to the Charger Chat. Lots to talk about. There's rumblings here and there. It feels a little light. It's probably a little bit lighter than
slower weeks, I would say.
Which is nice,
okay.
leading up to the draft.
Believe me. With our last episode being 2.5 hours, we're due for a slow week.
But
it's okay.
Don't get it twisted. Shit's about to pop off real soon. So enjoy the downtime before we explode.
This is the calm before the storm.
Amen.
Folks, so enjoy it while you can. Let's see. Looking at some of the news that's been going on, those of you that are season ticket holders have a pretty special event coming up. If you're going, Kyle.
Loser. I wish
As we all know, unfortunately, Kyle can't go, and neither of us are going to be making it. But those that are going are going to get a chance to see some pretty damn cool people.
Yeah,
this is pretty special.
It's incredible. I didn't realize they had, they lined up everybody. Like, can you imagine the line? That the requests for the 9:15 a.m. slot,
the Justin one.
So I don't fully understand this. Is this like meet and greet type situation?
I think they're gonna be at a podium and talk. I think that's the kind of general idea. Is they'll be there in person.
I'm sure they'll be signing some stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be shaking hands. I don't know because the COVID. I think they'll be
COVID.
I think people will be in the stands. They'll be on the field in front of you'll see it on the Oculus. They'll talk. They'll probably have a speech.
True.
It'll be, but still, how freaking cool is that? You're gonna be able to meet these guys. You get to meet Justin, Coach Staley, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, and the Ninja.
Which is the one where if you go to book your reservation and this is the last one left, you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go. I like him, but Joshua Kelly, it's not. That's not going to be popping off yet. Definitely not going to be popping off.
There's probably some 12-15 time slots available. Not to hate, we're shamelessly positive. I would love to see all of them.
I think it's a toss-up between Kelly and Telesco. I mean,
I want to hear Tommy T, dude. He's about to have one of his biggest days.
That's true. This is like a week, 5 days before the draft.
The Christmas is coming for him. It is time for him.
I guess that's
the biggest day of the year for him. Yeah, it's finals week exactly. You worked all the. Hopefully, didn't cram. He's been studying, but that's that's
slow and steady.
I want to hear. I want him to accidentally. He won't because he's a ninja. But I want him to accidentally drop a nugget that we can.
I love nuggets.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Give me the nugs.
Give me a nug.
So that's pretty special for those of you that are season ticket holders. You're going to be going to see some of these guys. Man, I'm jealous. That's gonna be pretty special.
Yeah,
and I mean, more than anything, you're getting a chance to go in the stadium. I know some people have already had a chance to go in and check out their seats and their view line and everything like that. But
and it's crazy because a lot of people bought tickets years ago and they still haven't been able to go sit in their seats and do their stuff.
True.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for all those people to actually get to the stadium, something you paid for a long time ago. You get to go see, and you get to hopefully meet Herbert if you got your pick in time.
Yeah, if you get a chance to meet Herbert, tell him Wolldog says hello.
Yeah, totally.
He'll know what it means.
Yeah, exactly. Tell him Wolldog sent you.
Okay, looking at some other news. God, I didn't even really want to bring this up because it's, again, we're talking about PFF, our fucking I hate these guys. They just make me so mad. I feel like remember there was that article that came out of talking about the trade for Watson and Herbert. And it was like, this is so ridiculous that why are we even wasting the breath talking about it? And that's, I mean, they're getting the clicks. And so I almost don't even want to bring up PFF because they're going to get the clicks.
It's so clickbait, but they came out with something that was so egregious. And
it was egregious.
It's run us down what it says, Wooly.
So it's PFF and I guess PFF College. So maybe PFF College is a different division.
Maybe they don't watch the NFL.
Maybe not.
That's possible.
Based on this graphic, I don't think they do.
Yeah. So they were, I guess PFF Mike, whoever that guy is, redrafted the 2020 and 2021 QBs. And I guess, I mean, gave them an order. So made it clear that like, this is number 1 to number 5. And Trevor Lawrence is number 1, followed by Joe Burrow, followed by Zach Wilson, followed by Justin Fields, followed by Justin Herbert.
So I don't, okay.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
I just don't get it. Like, is this based on when they were coming out of college? Because
like,
we would all say that Justin Herbert was very undervalued.
So what he's saying here is if you took the 2020 class and the 2021 class, this is the order you would draft them in. If you put them together,
it's a ranking. Yeah. I mean,
this is how you would draft them.
This says ranking.
This is just,
but this is taking into account that Justin Herbert was the offensive rookie of the year and broke almost every quarterback rookie.
It doesn't feel like it.
And they're putting Zach Wilson,
I know,
from BYU, who played basically dog shit all year and had decent numbers, above Justin Herbert. I don't understand.
The thing is, like, hindsight is 2020 on this. Like, you just saw what he did. How can you put him like this is the ultimate
number 1
trolling clickbait bullshit, in my opinion. And this pisses me off that they would post this. We already have a problem with PFF. Feels like they're doubling down because Charger fans get a little loud at them. I see it online. They get a little loud at them. Feels like this is in retaliation. Like, you know what? Screw you guys. Double down. I can't stand PFF. Over it.
It's ridiculous. So there have been people that have responded to it.
It's crazy.
Players that have responded to it. I saw Casey Hayward said like they were drunk or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous how you could put offensive rookie of the year at number 5 and know that, and these other, 3 players that they haven't even played on an NFL team yet. They haven't even put on a jersey. They don't even know where they're going to play. And you're already ranking them above Justin Herbert. It's unreal.
Well, I love it. We'll everyone save this, everyone pin this, remember this.
Guarantee.
And we'll get to throw it at him again because I love it. Every week it comes up with like the PFF guy saying, Herbert can't even play. He can't even play. Like, that guy should be fired, but he probably volunteers and doesn't make any money, and they won't fire him because technically you can't fire somebody that isn't.
It'd be like firing us.
It'd be like you can fire us, but like, okay,
you just stop listening. We should just stop bringing up this absolute lunatic.
I don't. Whatever this is absolutely insane. PFF Mike at PFF_Mike. Wow, bro.
Yeah, you just unleashed something.
I had
on
to.
This guy.
This is so ridiculous.
I don't think he's unleashing something. People are already vocal on Twitter. I don't think
this is well known.
We're not adding anything extra to the people
that have
already had something to say.
He didn't have to post this. He didn't have to create this. He brought it on 100%. Himself.
And in fact, Chargers have already said something about this. The Chargers social media has already said something about this. They've responded with a great meme from a guy that I love. His memes are all related to retail, but they use the part where he's like, "Are you listening to yourself? Like, can you hear yourself right now? What year is it?" Like,
that's really good. Our Chargers social media is so on point all the time.
And they won't forget this at all.
No.
So congratulations, PFF, for just taking yourself in a deeper hole and honestly just making me, and I'm sure several other people, just not hold any stock into what you say anymore.
Not even close.
You're completely cutting yourself off at the legs, and I can't believe you anymore. So forget about it. Enough about PFL.
Forget about it.
Help
Forget
us
about
help
it.
you. Help us
Forget
help
about
you.
it.
Stop it.
Stop it. So looking now at some COVID news. Who knew that there would be some COVID news? But apparently there was. This came from Charles Robinson, an NFL columnist, and said, in a step signifying the NFL's insistence on curbing COVID-19 exposure, the league office issued a memo to franchises Tuesday stating that it will limit the access of some team personnel who don't submit to a vaccination, which is important. We all know right now a lot of people are getting vaccinated. Not everybody is getting vaccinated. Some people have some very strong opinions one way or the other on getting vaccinations. So they're saying right now that it will limit access to some team personnel who don't submit to a vaccination. The quote is, Tier 1 and Tier 2 employees should be expected to be vaccinated unless they have a bona fide, I love that he used bona
Great
fide.
word.
Bona fide.
Yeah,
Bona fide. Medical or religious ground for not doing so. Any staffer that refuses to be vaccinated without a religious or medical reason will not be eligible for Tier 1 or Tier 2 and may not work directly or in close proximity with players.
You're kind of making
bona
them, you're
fide.
forcing the hand. Like, it's an interesting, the stance they've taken,
not.
because
They're not. What they're doing is they're trying to make a power move, but then in there, they've given you your out. If you come up with something that I'm not doing it because of
better
this
be
or
bona
that,
fide.
as long
He's a
as
suitor.
it's bona fide. So it's like, yeah, they're trying to make a stance and be like, oh, we're being strong against COVID, but they're not. People are going to find ways around that for sure. Like, how do you classify bona fide? I don't want to. I don't agree with it. Like, what is that? So I don't know. Like, it seems like a power move with no substance behind it.
Well, I think there's an element where, like, there's no other leagues that have done this yet. I think that's what's interesting about this. No other professional sport league has said anything like this. It's all been very, like, I feel like everyone's waiting for the NFL to do stuff because they are trailblazers. They're kind of deciding how these seasons work to a certain extent. So the fact that they're doing this, I think it's a kind of, they're putting their foot down a little bit. Yes, there's back doors you can work around it. You can work around anything, but I think there's actual in writing. You need to have it unless you have a bona fide reason not to.
I don't know.
So I think
it's dumb. I honestly, like, regardless of your views on COVID and the vaccinations, I'm just like I don't know. I guess I don't know. But I just
so
think
you
it's
don't.
silly.
So you had a point, but you lost your point.
Nah, I'm just not.
You know,
I'm not
I've got
willing
something to say, but I don't know.
As I thought about it, I'm not willing to take that hard of a stance one way or the other. I think it's, I don't know, if we're trying to limit it and doing other, I don't know. I think it's hard to tell someone you have to get vaccinated or you can't do your job. You're going to get fired and you're not qualified.
But everything we went through last year, like the fact that one of these employees could affect an entire team of football players. Like, what they're doing is essentially.
But then just don't have a season. It could.
How dare you? Shut up! How dare you say that? No, we're gonna have a season. They're just putting things. They put crazy steps in place last year. They're putting newer steps in place this year that ensure that we all get to go to football games, and that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, they're making the steps. They're at least taking a stance as far as, like, hey, if you guys want to be a part of this, you either need to get vaccinated or you got to come with something, some kind of proof.
Something bona fide.
It's got to be bona fide.
Bona fide. He's a suitor. Some kind of proof that you can't get this vaccination.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. I've seen both sides and I can understand both sides. But you're right. Like, we want to have a season. They've already said, like, we're going to have fans in the stands, and they're really trying to avoid. They're really trying to avoid situations like what happened with Denver last year, where they had a game where they had 0 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
like, they're trying to avoid all of these mishaps of people having to miss games because they didn't stop the season. The season still happens. So they're doing they're trying to at least push people in the right direction to like, just please get vaccinated. Like, just please do it.
Help us, please.
But this is just for employee. This is not for players. This isn't an expectation.
They haven't said.
I mean, a player's an employee, aren't they not?
No, but
this
not
says a specific tier 1 and tier 2
Yeah.
employees.
These are like people that work in the organization. I don't think they've stated one way or the other yet on like the players union on what their stance is on it. But
can't imagine
I'm
that
sure a
getting
lot of the
passed by
guys
the
are going to
NFL
want to
committee.
get it so they don't have to worry about it. You know, I don't know. It's a tricky situation, but I don't know.
It's a very tricky situation that they've come out and made a very bold statement on.
I'm not
just don't
mad
know
at
how
it
there's
because
not
it means
backlash.
football is probably going to happen the way we want it to happen. This is that's how it's the selfish way, the selfishly positive way I look at trying to get football back and being in a stadium where I can root on my boys.
100%. And there's still plenty of off-season time to figure everything out. But as far as where we are right now, that is the NFL's stance as far as getting a vaccine if you want to be an employee of any of these franchises. I guess regardless of state, because I know states have different rules and regulations in regards to how they're handling COVID and the vaccine. So this is just it for the NFL company. If you want to work here, get a vaccine or get yourself a bona fide
excuse.
That's right. All right. Well, getting out of that, looking on to our next article.
Good.
Know, right? To our next article. Justin Herbert, Chargers, ready to be West Coast's next Cinderella squad. I like that.
Yeah, Adam Schein had a great article on, because every year he picks like a team, his Cinderella team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this is a yearly thing, and he picked us this year.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see what Adam Schein had to say. He's quoted here saying, "I know the Chargers seem to attract off-season buzz like it's their business." We do. But they also have regularly failed to make good on it.
We do.
Meaning they are, in a way, an ideal post-hype-ish choice. Plus, like Cinderella's slipper, the bolts just feel right.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
All night long. It will be tough to win the AFC West. But I love this.
Really?
But I love this Chargers group, which is just silly with upside.
Yeah, it is.
The right people are in place, and they will get me back on track.
Yeah, they will.
The slipper will go back on that foot, and somewhere Coolio will be smiling. I found myself channeling the words of the great Coolio. Ain't no party like a West Coast party because a West Coast party don't stop.
I'm going to have to start reading more of his stuff. It's pretty good.
That's really funny.
He's got some comedy. He's got some comedy beats.
Nice. I didn't see where that Coolio reference was going.
Ain't no party like a West Coast party because a West Coast party don't stop.
I like it.
Funny. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are. Almost every offseason, they're like, Chargers, look out. They're looking good. They're looking good. Off season, we don't quite deliver.
Anytime you have a quarterback and just something else on the team didn't work, you think, oh, they can fix it and they get back on track. Yeah. And we've had a great quarterback for how many consecutive years now?
Right.
With Drew Brees to Phillip Rivers rolling right into Justin Herbert. It's like, if you have a good quarterback, you should be able to contend. And since you're not consistently, you think, oh, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. And Brian, it's the year. Hope you're right, Mr. Schein.
Hopefully,
fingers crossed.
Hopefully Herbert's our Broderella. Am I right?
Broderelli. Have you heard of Broderelli?
Kick some ass.
I love it. All right. And now it's time to go in to Coach's Corner.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
All comes down to today.
You take this helmet and you put it right in his numbers, okay? I want to see nothing but snot bubbles in his nose.
A lot of people want to blame coaches for a lot of things.
Nobody puts coaches in his corner.
And we shut them down because we can.
It's because I believed in you.
And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational, but that just wouldn't be our style.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, this week for Coach's Corner, there wasn't necessarily any question that tickled the coach's fancy. So Coach came up with something new, something we don't know what he's going to talk about, folks. I'm on pins and needles. I'm on the edge of my seat. Coach, what do you got for us today?
Yeah. So if you guys have questions throughout, please ask. But I wanted to talk about the one of the things that I think was one of the main weaknesses in our defense. And I think one of the things that single-handedly lost us the game against the Chiefs was defending against the quarterback scramble. When you play good defense, there's nobody open and the quarterback's able to make something happen with his feet. I wanted to look at kind of some of the things that I think is going to help us moving into our new scheme that we didn't necessarily have in place last year. And before I do, guys, if you have X's and O's questions, please send them in one of our Ask Boltfams, whether it be on Twitter, on YouTube, or on Reddit, or shoot us an email, because I love being able to answer questions. And I can make stuff up, but I like being able to talk to someone. So please shoot some X's and O's answers. I'd love to dig into them.
And there is no such thing as a stupid question.
No.
If you ever feel the need that you don't want us to mention you specifically, shoot us an email at thechargerchat@yahoo.com. We can ask your question anonymously. I've had too many one too many seltzers.
Hey.
We can ask your question anonymously. Adam voice actor. Him speak articulately. Okay. We can ask your question anonymously. We'd be happy to do that. I mean, I'm a big dum-dum when it comes to football. I'm slowly learning because of Coach. So I try to ask most of the dumb questions, but if you got one that I don't ask, shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, all right, Coach, what do you got?
Yep. So, so looking at the idea of defending a quarterback scramble. So there's a couple different aspects that I think is going to benefit us moving forward this next year. Obviously, what we've talked about from day one of hiring Brandon Staley is the move from the 4-3 to the 3-4. Basically, what that does is it's just a change in personnel, like we've talked about a lot. You go from 4 linemen, 3 backers to 3 linemen, 4 backers. But it also makes you a lot more athletic on the field. You have more athletes. I guess I'm not going to say D linemen are not athletes, but you have more speed, more agility, more open field tackling ability. And that's what a quarterback scramble is. It's all open field tackling. So that's hard for a big boy to do. So it automatically, you're helped just in your personnel. But you're also, another aspect of being on a 3-4 is you're coming from a lot of different angles. On a 4-3, usually rush 4 and you have 7 deep dropping. The same thing applies in a 3-4, but who that 4th guy is coming, you don't always know. Because it's not just the 4 D linemen and then maybe you'll get a blitz here and there. It's the 3 D linemen always, and then one of those backers, whether it be an outside and inside a safety, is also coming. And what that does is the quarterback doesn't necessarily know his escape route right away. He doesn't know, hey, I have a 3 tech here, a 1 tech here, or maybe they're both D linemen or outside of the guards and 3 techs. So if I feel pressure, I'm going to step straight up. Or, hey, this what's supposed to be a 5 tech or outside the tackle is going to stunts down at the snap. Now I know I can roll out to my right. Whatever it might be, it adjusts how easy it is for him to know where he can escape when you're blitzing and bringing people from different angles. And in the 3-4, you do a lot more of movement from the defensive line and blitzing from different angles. So from those 2 things alone, just lining up in a 3-4 and having that as your base, I think it helps you significantly against a scrambling quarterback. The other thing is running a man coverage behind. So this has nothing to do with the front. This is the actual coverage that you're running in case it's a pass. The difference between running a man and running a zone. And we all know that we ran cover 3, which is zone coverage. You're not running with a guy. You have a zone that you're responsible for on the field. If you've ever played Madden, it's like when you see all those bubbles all over the field, those are your zones. So if anyone enters into that zone, you have to be able to defend it. So whether you're in a zone or a man, so we're obviously going to run a lot more man coverage this year because it's almost impossible to run less. And Brandon Staley came out and said the kind of DBs that he's looking for are ones that can come up and press, and they're a little bit more of that athletic run with guys type of corners. So we know that that's in the scheme. And running man coverage versus running zone coverage, there's a couple of things. Some are pros, some are minuses. But all defensive backs and linebackers, if they are on a man, so you have 7 of them, they're not going to run 7 routes. So most of the time, there's some that aren't. But if you are a DB or a linebacker and you have a man running a route, you have you can't just leave that man when the quarterback escapes, right? Your back is turned to the quarterback. So most of the time, if I'm a defensive back in man coverage and my receiver takes off, I have to turn and run with him. I have no idea what the quarterback's doing. So there's times where you've probably watched it on Sundays. The quarterback scrambles and he's running into the end zone, and you see the defensive back with his back to the guy, and he doesn't turn around to make the tackle. And watching it's like, what the hell are you doing?
I think that was Justin Herbert's first touchdown. We've all been watching Justin Herbert highlights.
I did it again this week, by the way.
I know. So when you watch Justin Herbert's first touchdown, you can see there's that moment where that defensive back is on somebody else and then turns and goes, oh shit, there's Justin.
Right.
And then tries to tackle him, but it's too little too late. Justin scores a touchdown.
Right. Because if you come off too early, then he's just going to toss it over the top of you. But it's hard to even know if he's going to scramble because your eyes are on your man.
Correct.
In zone, your eyes are not just fixed on your man because you have a whole zone and you want to see where the quarterback's looking so you know which side of your zone to start working towards. Because if he's looking left, it doesn't matter what a receiver is doing on the right side of your zone. You want to start working towards where he's looking, and then you can adjust if he looks back. But your eyes, a lot of they're not fully locked on the quarterback, but they're on it more often. So you can see when he starts to scramble. So that is one benefit of the zone. Now, in the zone, you still can't just leave your zone and go tack and make a play on the scrambling quarterback. But you at least have eyes on the quarterback. The one benefit of playing man coverage, like I said, is there's not always seven routes being run. Most of the time you'll see 3 routes, maybe 4, sometimes just 2 if they're in like a max protection. They're really protecting the quarterback, like the Chargers had to do a lot last year. And if they're only running 2 routes and you're in zone coverage, you have 6 guys out there doing 5 guys out there doing absolutely nothing because there's only 2 routes. In man coverage, those 2 routes you can defend with 2 guys and even have a safety, so 3. But then the other ones are all sitting there spying the quarterback, waiting for him to try to break out of the pocket, and they're able to react right away. So that aspect of it as well. You can also take in man coverage. You can take a linebacker, a defensive line, and he's your spy. He spies the quarterback, so he does no responsibility for pass if it's man because he doesn't have a zone. You just say, hey, you're the spy. So your man is the quarterback. If it's a pass, that's your man. If he rolls out, you have to go, which you can't always do in a zone because you need a certain amount of zones to be able to defend everyone on the field based on the routes that they're going to run. So when you run more man, it affords you to be more lenient with those extra guys on the field. They're not stuck in their zone when there's only 2 routes. You could defend those 2 routes with 3 guys, and those other ones are freed up to be blitzers or quarterback spies or spying the running back. So it affords you more opportunity if you're athletic enough to shut down those couple of routes that are out there with your couple of guys. So I think that overall switching to the 3-4 puts more athletic guys on the field to be able to stop a scrambling quarterback. It also, running man versus zone, allows us to be more intricate with how we spy the quarterback, especially in certain games. But in the AFC, when you're playing Patrick Mahomes, when you're playing Lamar Jackson, and when you're playing Josh Allen, these guys that can run the ball really well, it affords you to be able to take a guy and be like, hey, Drew Tranquil, you have no pass coverage, you're spying the quarterback, which is a lot more athletic, open field tackling type player than your defensive end, your nose guard, or your defensive tackle. So I think that those things will help us.
It's interesting too with how Tampa Bay kind of handled him in the Super Bowl. And I think that is people kind of saw that and saw the blueprint of what you kind of need to shut him down and not let him score any touchdowns.
Well, Tampa Bay did it. This is Gus Bradley's philosophy. If you can rush 4, you can sit in zone all day if you want. If you can get pressure with 4, go ahead and sit in your cover 3. That's what he did in Seattle, and that's why it was really effective. But if you can't create pressure with 4, you can't. It's really, really hard to run a zone, especially against a high-level quarterback, because the zone will eventually break down. They will find those little pockets because in a zone, you're not as snugged up on a receiver. You're letting him run in and out of your zone and trying to be able to almost contain him in whatever zone he goes to. But there are openings in any zone. In a cover 3, your seams and your hitches are wide open. In cover 2, that middle of the field is wide open along with the boundary. So there's holes in any zone. In a solid lockdown man coverage defense, if you have the athletes that are better than theirs to be able to run man, there is no soft spot unless he breaks coverage and they just have an hour to run around and we get tired. It's just it's not easy. It's not easy to run, but I think that's like the blueprint for shutting Patrick Mahomes down. Shutting any quarterback down is get pressure with 4 and sit in his zone, because it pressure with 4, you have all the numbers. But yeah, I think this is going to help us at least against Mahomes' ability to scramble.
Do you see any negative connotations with running a 4-3 versus the 3-4? Like, there's a lot of talk. I mean, the way you say it, it's like, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? And I guess the reason being is that we just haven't had the athletic players needed to execute that type of a scheme. So if we do have the right players to execute that kind of scheme, what are some of the negatives, or what are some of the opportunities that another quarterback like Patrick Mahomes can take advantage of that type of scheme, or knowing that we're running that kind of scheme?
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily the quarterback that would take advantage, but it's your running game. You're taking a big body off to put a lighter body on. So if you're if you don't have the right personnel, which is always the issue, but if you're going to run the ball with your big, humongous offensive line, and now they're blocking linebackers that they should be significantly bigger than, and you have a great running game, it's just a law of who's bigger and who's smaller. Like, you can use technique, you can hopefully stunt and blitz and catch guys off guard, and you can still shut down the run. Absolutely. I'm not saying the 3-4 sucks against the run. Right. I just think the 4-3 is probably better against the run. But with today's NFL and the way that football is going, that is not necessarily, unless you're playing an Anthony Lynn Chargers team, what you have to shut down all the time. You can free up a little bit of that by switching to a 3-4 to gain the advantage against the passing game.
Wow.
Nice.
Very well said.
Nice.
Coach. That was great. Thank you for breaking it down and showing, what we have to look forward to with this new coaching scheme. It honestly, God, man, the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, we're probably going to take a cornerback in that first round. I can already see it
more and more.
I feel it happening as far as what it is that he wants, not necessarily what I want. Right. I want to tackle, but I feel the more you talk about it, the more it's like, boy, you got to have guys that can match the speed of some of the some of the fastest running wide receivers, and we've got one that's in our conference, unfortunately, right? Who just he's called the cheetah for a reason.
Well, and the fun thing, I saw a stat where Horn has a faster mile per hour than the cheetah by like a split second. So I'm just saying,
I'm feeling that it's going to be a cornerback. That's what I feel is going to happen. But thank you, Kyle. I mean, you're opening eyes, I think, for a lot of people that are hearing this, that I think, if anything, helping people like me come to terms with, like, you know what, if it's not tackle, you got to understand that they've got a game plan. It very well could be cornerback, and that's a good thing to help this team. So thank you again, Coach. We move on now to our Bolt Insight. And folks, this one,
ladies' night, and it feels all right. It's just ladies' night. Oh, what a night.
What a night.
This is a Bolt Insight, folks, that I think you're really going to want to pay attention to. So let's check the tape.
All right, guys, you are in for a treat today. We have a twofer on our Bolt Insight, and we are talking with Jennifer Mills and Karen Garcia. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, let's just jump right in. We've talked to Karen. We talk about Karen all the time. Let's start with Jen. Jen, how did you become a Charger fan?
I guess it all started like when I was about 12 or 13. I started watching sports, all sports, baseball, basketball, football, college and pro with my dad. That was the only way I could stay up past curfew. Nice. So it all just kind of started back then. And then we're a big UCLA family. So the colors just kind of matched with the Chargers. And so I'm like, hey, I like them. And then it just kind of started from there.
That's awesome. It's so funny. There's so many people have told us that they jumped on board initially because of how cool our jerseys are. So I think that's awesome. That's perfect. So, all right, cool. So you guys have something very cool in common, and you guys do a lot for the Charger community. I like to call them the care packages, because a lot of people from all over the country and out, all over the world can't get into the pro, the pro shop and like get all the stuff, but you guys go in, buy the whole store and ship it out to everybody. So, let's start with Karen. Like, when did you start doing this and why?
Jen, she was the role model. She was the example. She started doing giveaways all the time for Boltfam and just started getting people more and more connected because we would all follow her because we wanted to get into the giveaways. And as she started to do it, I thought, this isn't fair that she's got to do all of this. I mean, some of us could join and help. So then I decided I was going to join and help a little bit so that the whole entire, the pressure of all of it and the load didn't just fall on her. And then it ended up just going all across Boltfam. We had so many people this last time the store was open who went and bought things for the rest of the Charger fans who couldn't go or lived out of the area. It was really awesome. And this is all because of Jen's example.
Well, Jen, you are amazing because just the simple act of kindness you guys are doing, it makes me feel like I'm connecting with my Bolt family more. And everyone's so happy online. They're getting their stuff, taking pictures in it. So when did you're the origin of this right now. So when did you start doing it?
Back in 2019, one of the first couple games that I went to in the season, I just happened to come across a bunch of extra stickers. And then at the end of the game, they handed out those posters. So I just grabbed a few extra and then decided to see if any fans would like to have any of them. And it just happened to be that it became popular. So once that started, I was like, let's see about doing another giveaway and see how fans react.
That's so cool of you. And is that how you guys meet? How did you guys meet? Because it seems like you guys are like a dynamic duo, taking care of the Charger family.
We met on Twitter.
Yeah, just on Twitter, just happen to follow each other and communicate with each other, interact and engage on whatever conversations we happen to meet up on, and then eventually just reached out to each other. I think Karen reached out to me first, I want to say.
I do that a lot. But you know what? I remember a lot of it was during the Isaac Rochelle Walter Payton Man of the Year award. When we had to get online.
I remember that push. That was epic.
Some of us were online a lot on Twitter, pushing and tweeting retweeting each other's tweets. And Jen and I just kind of started asking each other questions and connecting more. And then it became then we started talking off of Twitter to each other, calling, or I would call. And then we ended up meeting and going to the store together. And I wanted to help her with all the stuff that she was buying. So I helped by carrying everything because there was so much she bought for everybody.
Bags and bags.
Oh my gosh, so much she bought for everybody.
Well, it's so amazing you guys are doing that. I'm sure you're excited. It seems weird this year where we had to step back and just be friends online. Now we get to go to the games again. Are you guys excited to go back to the games and interact with everybody?
Beyond excited, yes, absolutely. I am so looking forward to Thunder Alley.
I know, me too. It's going to be amazing.
And the 24th to finally, after we bought our seats the year that the Chargers moved. So we haven't seen our seats, it's been 4 years. So we're finally on the 24th going to be able to go and sit in our seats and see, the view and all of that. I'm super excited about that.
That's so awesome. So, all right, well, we'll finish up with this because you guys have a unique, experience on this because you've been fans for a while. Talk a little bit about, we'll start with you, Jen. Talk a little bit about how you think our fan base is changing. Because it's very dynamically different than it has been the last 5 years that I've noticed a change. What have you seen?
Yeah, I've noticed we've discussed this before, Karen and I, and it's like a lot of young fans. That is definitely something that I've come across where people are, I guess, I'm learning a lot on Twitter. I was very new to Twitter up until like 2-3 years. So when their Twitter handle ends in SZN, that means they're young. And I happen to come across that a lot on there. So, and a lot of women, a lot of young girls. Yeah. We've come across exciting. A lot. Yes.
I think the same thing as Jen. We lost a lot of our older fans when we moved from San Diego, and we are gaining a younger fan base who is passionate about this team. I think Herbert has really helped to solidify that fan base and even bring in more fans. And I'm seeing way more fans within the like 20 and 30-year-old, maybe 35-year-old that are coming in. And it's exciting because this is the new generation of Charger fans. And, our fan base could use that.
For sure. And our home field advantage could absolutely use that.
Yeah.
Yes. A big boost.
Yeah. So it's exciting. And I wanted to show off. This is the jerseys Karen sent. So thank you, Karen. Nice. I wear it every day before I go to bed. I put it on just for a few minutes and then put it in my closet and hide it from my kids. But thank you so much for everything you guys are doing, and keep it up, because it just makes our fan base stronger and happier in general. So thank you guys so much for coming on.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And hi, Bulldog. Hi, Kyle. Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Young fan, there's no need to feel down. I said, young fan. Get yourself off the ground. I said, young fan.
Oh, we're done.
Oh, wow. It's fun to play at the SoFi Stadium. We'll work on that. We'll get the lyrics down. Wow, Jen, Karen.
Yeah.
Always good to see you.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Karen. We see you.
They're awesome. And what they're doing is so, like, they don't need to do any of the stuff they're doing for our fans and for us. And they're just, it's unbelievable. This really is.
Very selfless. Yeah. Very, very cool. It's an awesome way to cultivate just like the culture of our team.
Yeah, you're building our really fan base. Happy, good fans that like want to support each other. Like that's infectious. Yeah. So we appreciate it. And then also want to thank Jen because she offered up a giveaway. She's given away a couple items for coming and subscribing to our channel. So we just want to thank Jen, and make sure you, if you're watching this on Tuesday, go and retweet her tweet. And you can be in the running to grab some of the awesome stuff. It's like an Austin Eckler light, and then there's some workout gear from Sean Merriman, and then some really awesome shirts you can pick from. So thank you, Jen, for doing that. We really appreciate it. You're you guys are amazing.
Time. Yeah, big time. Can't thank you enough. Believe me, I think if we could. If we lived maybe in the same state, we might be able to get our schedules right, and we would be on these interviews with Kevin, just because we'd love to talk to you guys as well. Yeah. We can't express how much we appreciate you guys, not just coming on the show and being being fans, but doing everything that you do. As you guys talked about in the interview, that your presence on Twitter is incomparable. I'm pretty sure it's Karen is the main reason that Isaac Rochelle had as many votes as he did on
Jen
Twitter.
And Karen going at it.
And Justin Herbert's the Pepsi spokesperson.
Oh,
Pepsi
God,
Zero
the rookie of the year, yes.
Oh, yeah, that was every week. It was like, how many times could you click the submit, refresh, submit, refresh, submit, refresh? I love it.
You guys you're doing great work. So thank you guys for coming on and talking to my man Huggin. Can't wait to talk to you guys again soon, and cannot wait to see you guys in Thunder Alley, just like you said. That's going to be such a blast. Yep. It's going to be so damn fun. All right. Well, now we move on over to Fan of Focus. Let's get it in focus and see who we got.
All right, guys, we are here with another Fan Focus, and we are extremely excited to have Dany from Virginia. Thank you so much for coming on, Dany.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, all right, cool. So every time we talk to somebody new, we want to find out how you became a Charger fan. So how did you become a Charger fan all the way out in Virginia?
Well, my dad actually grew up in San Diego, and my grandparents still live there. he had season tickets for years. So I'm kind of born and bred a Chargers fan. I think I distinctly remember for sure first grade becoming a Chargers fan. So that was back in the early 90s. But like, I think the Super Bowl season, 94, 95 was the year that like really solidified my fanhood. And it's just been, terrible ever since, but in a beautiful way.
Well, yeah, you had the good, that's a good year to get really into it. So that's awesome. So did you live in San Diego, or have you always been on the other side of the country?
No, I'm an Air Force brat, actually. So I have been everywhere. Yeah. So I've been a Charger fan in Wyoming and England and South Dakota and Nevada and Montana, and finally here out on the East Coast.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've covered, you've spread. I hope you've grabbed some people along the way, kind of tried to pull them into to the team.
Yeah, I definitely have. And I got my husband on board a couple of years ago. So he's from Ohio. He didn't have an NFL team. He's just an Ohio State fan. So I pulled him into the fold a couple of years ago.
That's so awesome. Well, awesome work. So I wanted to ask you, we're really excited to have our new coach, Brandon Staley. I wanted to get your opinion on what you think about our new coach, going from Lynn and having this new, awesome, exciting coach.
They both have seemed like really great leaders of men, which is fantastic. And that's important. But I'm really excited about the plan that Staley seems to have for the team. And I mean, I'd like to think that the ownership and Telesco wouldn't have brought him on if he didn't have a really solid plan for the team. And I'm excited to see how the draft goes. I'm excited to see the plan in action this year. I mean, I honestly don't know since probably 2006, maybe 2010, when we were like good in a bad way or bad in a good way. I'm not sure if there's been like a more exciting season to be a Chargers fan. We have this great, fantastic young quarterback. We have some offensive weapons. We're building an offensive line for him. So it's exciting to see what's happened so far and kind of where Staley has taken that. And I'm just really excited to see how it's going to go this year. And he just seems like, I think I tweeted about it, like, he seems like the kind of person that would have all of the team players over to his house for dinner and like groups of 3 just to hang out with them and really be a family. And that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, I think, we just spoke with Hannick Milligan last episode, and he was talking about like family and how important that is. And you kind of get that vibe from him. Like, he like pulls people in, even in the press conferences when he's talking to like the journalists. He's like, like you just feel comfortable around him. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah. And I love that he takes his family, in all the time, and they hang out and get to meet the players too. So it's a really kind of like warm, comforting feel having him as head coach.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're all pumped, and it having Justin Herbert, having a new coach who's a defensive mastermind. It's so exciting. Like you said, it's a great year to like get into the Chargers because there's so many exciting things. So speaking of that, we have a draft in like a couple weeks. So there's a lot of things we want to try and do. Like, what would you like to do if you were responsible for picking for the Chargers in the first round? What would you do?
Well, I mean, I think most Chargers fans are like hoping that some crazy thing happens where we either trade up for an earlier pick or by some miracle of God, like Penei Sewell is available to us. Yeah. I think that's everybody's like hope and dream, of course. But barring that, I definitely think it would be important to draft another alignment. I mean, we really need somebody at left tackle. We've done such a good job of just shoring that up during free agency that, looking at the people we have out there, there's Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, Dara Shaw, Elijah Vera Tucker. I think of those 3, I like Slater from Northwestern best. That may be a little bit of bias. I mentioned my husband's from Ohio, so yeah. I am an Ohio State football fan by marriage. And seeing how Slater handled Chase Young a couple of years ago during their game, one of the best defensive players we've seen in a few years.
Yeah,
kind of gives me like, oh, he might work really well. He could. I know his like arm length is a concern, but other than that, he seems like he could be a good fit and be a great left tackle.
That's funny you were able to flip that. Him like being a problem for Ohio State and your husband and your team, and you found a way to flip that. Be like, you know what? I kind of like that guy. I'm kind of might be on board with him.
Yeah. I don't like him good right now, but I mean,
Yeah.
Ohio State still blew out Northwestern in that game like 42-3 or something like that. So obviously it wasn't that big of a problem, but for our offense anyway. But
Awesome. Well, honestly, thank you so much, Dany, for coming on and chatting with us. It was really nice to meet you, and it's really fun interacting with you on Twitter. You always post some awesome stuff. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me. This is great. I'm so excited. So excited for 2 weeks from now.
I know. Well, it's going to be awesome. So thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Have a great night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go, folks. As Karen mentioned, and Jen, we're getting more ladies in the mix.
I love it, dude.
Dany.
I love it. And
that's awesome.
Dany knows her stuff, dude. She knows it all. So,
she's breaking down arm length of Rashawn Slater.
She's going to give you a run for your money, coach, at some point here. So it was great talking to her. And, I just love hanging out with fans. So it was great meeting her. And, thank you so much for coming on, Dany.
And thank you for spreading the Charger joy everywhere you went as an Air Force
little
baby.
Seeds. Just drop little seeds wherever you go.
A little Charger business here, a little Charger business here. There you go. Yeah, the Johnny Appleseed of the Charger fandom. So thank you, Dany, for coming on. That was great. This is great to hear these fans. I can't wait with all the fans that we're stacking up right now that we've had on Fan Focus. Like, we're going to get a chance to meet so many of you guys when it comes time to games. It's just going to be a blast. So, all right. Well, now we move on to the piece. It's sweet. It's sexy. Here's the Craig experience, baby. Here's Bonafide.
Oh, shit.
Come on in, man. Kick your feet up.
Craig experience. Hello there.
Make yourself at home. Got some stuff to talk about, right? Moving on.
CC gang. Big salute to the rest of the Bolt fam. What is cracking? It is your guy, Craig in Texas, and welcome to another edition of the Craig Experience. So we are less than 2 weeks away from the big show, and I couldn't be any more schoolgirl giddy about it. And it's kind of twofold, actually. The draft weekend just so happens to be typically my birthday week. And this year, day 2 actually is my physical B-day. And I'm a little concerned that TT may screw it with his typical third round shenanigans. So on the 30th, you guys check in on me in the event that we end up drafting a running back or something like that, because I may choose violence that day. But anyway, moving along, we've chatted about several different positions, some of urgent need, some not so much. And this week, we're going to talk about a spot that I mentioned on Twitter in a bit of a teaser, and that's the safety position. So, we know who's there, right? Derwin, Nas, Alohi Gilman, and ta-da, a surprise name, Kaiser White. Well, maybe a surprise to some of you, because if you guys are familiar with Kaiser's history, back at West Virginia, he played the star role, and that is going to be a huge part of the defense. So Kaiser may actually be able to find his niche in some sort of rotation with Derwin. So now you have to ask yourself, is safety as big of a need as what some think it is? Possibly. I think it still is, but maybe for a different reason. Not because of the numbers game, but more so because of injuries. We all know Derwin's story. Kaiser seems to get nicked up every year. We don't really know what Alohi Gilman is, but I don't think any of us really trust him to be a huge contributor on defense, maybe on special teams, and we'll see what he develops into. And then we've got Nas, right? And we know how that story's gone so far. Last year was essentially his rookie year. So, yeah, that being said, there are some ideas that I have about the direction we maybe should go. But more so outside of that, I want to talk a little bit about kind of the idea that safeties or multiple safeties in Staley's scheme is a necessity. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, let's be honest. If we listen to the presser, he mentioned he formulates his defense and scheme around the personnel that he has. And a lot of the maneuvering he had to do last year was just solely due to attrition. I think the linebacker core was wiped out. So the multiple safety usage was kind of out of necessity. So do we really know if multiple safety look is a staple in his defensive setup? It still very well could be, but I mean, if he's got healthy linebackers that can run and cover, may not be as much. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Circling back, think about that. He really made adjustments on defense based on the personnel that he had. What a novel concept. As Chargers fans, do we even know what that looks like? I mean, for the last few years, you're just used to kind of seeing Denzel Perryman carry wide receivers up the seam and get toasted. So if we're talking about the draft in regards to safeties, there's somebody who's very near and dear to my heart, just because I love the brand of football the guy plays. And that's going to be good old Jamar Johnson out of Indiana. And he's not a name that's getting a ton of hype. I don't know why. The kid's a freaking ball magnet. It's basically wherever he ends up on the field, the ball seems to find him. And if he gets his hands on it, he's going to attempt to house it. That's kind of maybe a part of the problem, though. He gets super aggressive once he picks the ball off, and he doesn't always make the best decisions. As far as athletic profile, though, let me get back to that. 6'1", about 200 pounds. His RAS score was decent. Nothing amazing. Nothing that when you look at it jumps off of the page at you. Definite athlete when you flip the tape on. Go ask Justin Fields how he feels about him. He gave that kid all he wanted, picked him off twice, and I want to say that he ended up having one of those interceptions peanut punched away from him on a fumble after he got his hands on it because he didn't protect the ball all that well. But I'll take my chances with somebody like that. Kid makes plays. Comes downhill, nasty and aggressive, so he'll stick his nose in there in the run game, and he's not a liability in the pass game. And, of course, that's what we're looking for in the Staley defense as far as safeties are concerned. A versatile piece that could be interchangeable with Derwin. So he can definitely do that and more. Fellas, talk to me. Do you think the safety position is as big a deal as what some think it is in regards to having to get more pieces there? What do you think about Kaiser White? And do you have a guy in the draft that you have your eyes on, whether it's early or late? Either way. But per usual, you know what it is. Bowl ganger don't bang. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Craig, thanks,
my man.
Thanks for looking into some of this stuff, man. You're bringing up names that, like, I mean, I certainly don't know. So I'm like immediately attached to them like, boy, I hope we get this guy. And I'm sure the day will come and we don't get him and I'm going to be crestfallen when it happens. But thank you for shedding some light. That is a great question and great insight on Kaiser White as well. Because we all know him more as that linebacker type, not necessarily in the safety position. So bringing up Kaiser White, bringing up is safety a big need? I think this is great since Coach brought it up in Coach's Corner as far as how many defensive backs we need going into this new scheme. What do you think, Coach? What do you think of what Craig had there?
Yeah, I think Craig, I think you nailed it. The idea that it's not an immediate and pressing need, but it could very well become one really quick. We have guys that have injury issues, and I think a lot of us as a fan base are putting a lot on Nas to get a lot better. This next year. Because that was truly his rookie season. And I'm hoping that under the command of our new coach, defensive back coach, D coordinator, this whole like new regime will be able to help him to take his game to the next level. Now, if it does, great. But if it doesn't, what's our backup plan? And I do think that there are pieces to kind of have fun with and be able to. You can patch it if needed. And like Craig said, a coach that will adjust based on personnel. But he has an ideal roster. And when you go in to build a defense, you're going to try to build your ideal roster if you can, at least to start the season. And so I think that safety is one of the positions that absolutely could be addressed in the draft, late day 2, early day 3. Because it's also a big time special teams position.
Yeah, sure.
We saw with Alohi playing so much in special teams last year. That's just a big position. They get worked in on special teams a ton. So you kind of cover 2 positions with one guy if you get the right guy. I honestly think though that safety is one of the positions that we might try to address in free agency after the draft. I think it's one of those spots that it does have a need. It's not a huge, gigantic need that needs to be addressed, and it's not a position that demands outrageous top dollar. Like the tackle does, like the corner does, like the quarterback of the pass rusher. Now they do get paid, obviously, but it doesn't demand that wow, our cap space is getting tight. We can't sign a second tier safety that could come on and rejuvenate his career with us. So I think there are still some free agents out there. Some of the guys, Justin Simmons, Kenny Vaccaro, Trey Boston, who we knew in the past, Malik Hooker, who was a big time prospect out of college, kind of had some injury issues, but that could be a guy you take a chance on a 1-year deal with this COVID year. Let him come prove himself. So I think there's options in free agency for the safety position, and even a potential we hold off and wait until in case somebody gets hurt.
Don't say that.
Yeah. And at least gives you the option we're winning ball games like we should be. And you can give up some either future draft capital or maybe one of these guys is still sitting around. So I think that's one that doesn't absolutely need to be addressed. Definitely not early in the draft. And if at all, because I do think that we have a coach that can cover it up with being creative and using the pieces that we have. A perfect point is Kaiser White, who played safety in college, that can get sideline to sideline, but you can hide him in coverage. They're not going to know what he's playing. So I think that's a great point.
I think there's interesting things with like people doing breakdowns of kind of the strength of the draft class, and DBs is a higher class in terms of quality players that are going to be available. So I think it makes sense to, like you were saying, the third day into the second day, look at somebody that could come in that's a prospect that could be an awesome special teams guy who has the ability to be a rotational and a backup situation. You know what I mean? Like, I think we have 9 picks. We have some flexibility. Right. So when it comes to best available, there's a lot of really good, defensive backs available during this draft. So those are going to pop up. So it'll be interesting to see when they take that, but I think they'll pick up at least one of some shape or form. And then I think that's a good point. There's some guys out there that could come in on a 1-year deal and try and prove it, maybe get another bigger contract, which this is a great place. This is what Staley does. This is how he got where he is now with us, is he's the Wunderkind.
The Wunderkind.
Wunderkind.
Can you refresh my memory, Coach, in regards to when Craig referenced Kaiser being in that star position? What does that mean? What does that reference to for those of us that aren't as up to speed on the vernacular?
Yeah. So what Staley talked about in his interview was he said star money, and we thought that, remember, the reporter thought that he meant like how much he was going to pay someone.
We just didn't know in general.
Yeah. So I think that I heard from the interview was that's his way of determining position. So like the star would be your nickel back, so your fifth defensive back that you bring on, and your money would be your 6th one. So those are just those extra defensive backs that aren't on your starting rotation. They're not one of your first 4 that comes in, and that star could be a Kaiser White type. You could bring that on as your nickel. Now he's not going to look like a traditional nickel. It'll look like you're running 5 linebackers, but it all depends on what he wants to call it. It doesn't really matter. It matters what his responsibility is and what he's able to do. Like you could put 11 nose tackles out there. You could call one a free safety.
Sick.
You could call one a corner. But like when you look, that's not a corner and that's not a free safety.
Right.
It's just a matter of what you're calling them. But you could have a big, strong, run-stopping star if that's what that package called for. So yeah, that's just like a terminology for what he's referring to as the nickel and the dime defensive back.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, I think you've both of you have brought up some great points, and you especially on the idea of free agency. We know that Chargers still have some cap money to spend. Anybody that follows Dan Popper knows that some of that cap money Tommy likes to set aside for potential injuries that could happen during the season if we do need to pick up somebody mid-season. So there's still money to be spent. Still players to be picked up that aren't necessarily part of the draft. Could that be safety? Could that be lineman? Could that be cornerback? It could be any one of those things. So I think we're waiting for the draft to happen before they start pulling the trigger on some of these guys and try to get some that sweet coupon money deals that Tommy's so known for in this league. So we will see what happens. But thank you, Craig, for posing the question and shedding some light on the safety position.
Thanks, Craig.
And now we look on over to Ask Boltfam.
Oh, yeah.
It's, for some of you folks, it's your favorite part of the episode. For some of you, it's not. And you know what? For those of you that's not, I love you anyways, okay?
I thought you were going to say something else. Why don't you go take a nice
this
long
is shamelessly
walk
positive, man.
Yeah.
We keep it, you know what? If you love it, you know, whatever it is. But you know what? You ask questions, so guess what? It's me.
I think it tips heavier into people love it than people don't like it.
Yeah, I would say
we don't look at our comments, but we do.
No,
but we don't look at them, but we do.
I don't give thumbs up. What are you talking about? I don't like comments. I don't read them every day. Look at the newest one to find out who said what about what. All right, so let's just get right into it. Ask Boltfam. We started off with Zach Whitaker, a.k.a. the Real Tone Diggs, who asked the question. Now, I'll preface this. You ask a question, and you ask me to do it in a particular voice. If I tried to do this voice for the entirety of your question, I don't know that I would make it to the second question. I think I would wreck my voice trying to do it. I will give you a taste of it, but I'm also going to give you something new, something I haven't done before. Okay? Here we go. Hey! Sup, brochachos? What do y'all think is more likely? Herbert completes 69% of his passes on the season. Keenan averages 69 yards a game. Kelly carries the ball 69 times. Mike Williams has 69 catches. Or Michael Davis has 69 tackles. Hey! And then for your Dany Trejo, Peace Peros.
Nice.
That was my best Harry Carey.
That was solid.
Hi.
Dude, that was the sexiest question we've ever received. There's so much sexy in that question.
I tried to take as much of it out with my voice as I could, but you
the
can't
sexy
ignore
would
it.
just go over the top.
There's
you never
a lot
want to go
of
full sexy.
There's a lot of sexy. But I think this is a good question. Sexiness aside, I think this is a good question in regards to what seems more likely as far as what we can expect from some of these players this year. What jumps out to you there, Mr. Huggin?
I'm going Herbo. 69 for sure.
Boy.
Shocking.
Yeah, easy.
Do you think that's likely though? 69%? I don't know many quarterbacks that can throw for 60% completion.
All right, a better question. Are you over under on the 69%?
Yeah.
Think he's going to do more than that or just under?
70 on the season?
Exactly
70% on the season?
Jeez.
What's the difference between 70 and 69?
I'm a positive Justin Herbert fan. I'm going 69 over percentage.
Wow.
He's going to be, and that's MVP stuff, guys. That is MVP. That is Super
I don't know
Bowl
if that's,
stuff.
I mean,
this is all Kevin answer, and we just get to judge you for your answers. What about Keenan averages 69 yards a game over under?
Let's take this back. I don't want to be responsible for all these.
No. Over under
69 catches.
Wait, hang on. We're doing the over under on the 69. Over under, Kevin. I repeat,
what you
over
did
under
there with that one.
Over under, Kevin.
Under 69 yards a game.
Really for Keenan?
68.
I would have swapped that. I would have said under on Herbert, over on Keenan.
Me too. Kelly carries the ball 69 times.
I don't know. That one's tough. I don't know what he's going to do with this coaching staff. I don't know how much the coaching staff likes him.
17 games.
I think.
Is that 4 carries a game?
Yeah, he could do that.
Over?
Yeah, over. Okay. I don't know, but I don't know how much they're going to like him. That's the question.
Okay.
He could be right in the
I want to see Kelly do better, personally. Yeah. I want to see him get more opportunity.
I think we're going to need it. I think we'll need it. But I mean, one running back, they're not all going to stay healthy the whole time. He's arguably the number 2 right now, potentially the number 3. So he's going to get carries. Mike Williams has 69 catches. That's 4 catches a game.
Easy.
Again.
Over.
Yeah, over. Mike Davis has 69 tackles.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that
4 tackles a game.
I would hate for him to have to. I hope he's just locking people down, and there's he doesn't have to tackle shit.
Right.
So
okay,
I'm going.
I'm going shamelessly positive under.
Yeah,
okay.
shameless.
All right.
And I'm changing my fuck that. I went over on everyone. Let me change my Keenan answer. 69 years for sure. I went over on everything else, so I'm not gonna leave him hanging.
Okay.
Yeah, you're an over kind of guy.
Yeah, how dare I?
How dare you? All right. Well, thank you, Zach, for asking
That
such
was
a
so
sexy
sexy.
question.
Thanks, dude. That was so hot.
My mom listens to this podcast.
I love you, Kath.
She listened to that one especially.
Cut this.
All right.
Cut all this out. Cut the question. Cut it.
Cut the
You're just making it weird.
Cut the whole thing.
Kyle, stop making it weird.
Don't make it
All
weird.
right, Coach Lago.
Next one.
All right. We move on to Coach Lago, who asked the question. Goofy buttholes. More specifically, Coach, would your opinion of Dean change at all if they get a ring in the next couple of years? Bolt gang or okay, love you, bye. Get these motherfucking fans off this motherfucking plane.
Oh my gosh.
He called you out, goofy butthole. What you got?
Called you out,
Yeah.
Coach. We all know your position on Dean Spanos and what he's done with this team. And if we get a Super Bowl, will that change your opinion? Will that sway? Will that soothe the savage beast?
Yes.
That would assume that we give any credit whatsoever to Dean Spanos for winning the Super Bowl. I think if we win the Super Bowl, it's in spite of Dean Spanos. So it's not going to make you feel any better about Dean Spanos.
Well, I think it's a good point. I think you're right. Like, how much credit do we give to Dean Spanos? So that being said, do you feel that up to this point, Dean Spanos has had his fingers in just about everything, that if we do win, he's finally gained some self-control and taken some of his fingers out of some of those pies and let the team do what needs to be done?
He's so
I'm trying to I'm trying to spin this in the right way. Like, I'm trying to get you to say it.
A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a
For
while.
sure.
That would be the explanation, that his ownership was somehow won a Super Bowl. Because there's plenty of teams that should have done it by now. We've been in existence long enough. We've had good enough teams. It should have happened. So to win it, I guess you could shamelessly positive, try to spin it as he's learned and he's grown as a leader.
Kyle, what's your last name? Hold on. What's your last name?
What?
Say your last name.
Trick question. We have the same last.
Say your last.
Dug in. Yeah,
you're dug in, bro.
Yeah,
you dug in on this Dean Spanos thing.
Yeah.
It's in your name, bro. It's in your name.
I dug in. I'm dug in.
So the official answer is still hit him.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right.
He's such a dick.
Fair enough.
He's such a dick.
The opinions of Kyle and Coach Duggan do not reflect all of those on the Church of Our podcast. We move on now to Junior. Then Philo Jr., who asked the question. Let's say we end up doing some double dipping in the draft. Which position do y'all want the Chargers to target twice? Or are y'all not feeling the double dip? Y'all doing great. Okay, love you, bye.
I'm double dipping all day long on offensive line. I might triple, quadruple dip that bitch.
Well, so on the offensive, you're using offensive line as a generic. What if they double dip on tackles or guards? What do you?
Yeah, he differentiated tackle and interior.
I'll take. Waiter, can I have two of each?
Two tackles?
I'll take 2 tackles. And 2 guard types.
Double dip in both.
I'd like 2. Utah.
That's a lot of double
Utah. Give me 2.
So, okay. So out of the 9 drafts, you would like to see 2 tackles and 2 guards.
If we had 4
So
out of the 9 picks were offensive linemen, I would be ecstatic.
I think a lot of us.
I think
would
I
be.
agree. Yeah, I think I want to disagree with you, but I think I agree.
Hercules.
Yeah, 2 tackles and 2 guards, please. And
Thanks,
hopefully one of those guys can play center because.
Yeah, we can add a center.
We have Lindsley. We're fine, and we got the Q. We're good at center. We're
true.
solid.
Lindsley's solid.
We need guards and we need our tackles. That's all I want.
All right.
Give me 2.
Very good. Great question, Junior. Thank you for asking it. We move on now to Gnarly Ray Jepson, who asked the question.
Would you guys rather have Phillip Rivers come back one day as a QB coach or have Mahomes tear his ACL every year?
Such a dark question.
Yeah, I want Phil as a QB coach because that would just be the coolest thing ever. And I don't wish any injury on anyone. I hope he sucks. All of a sudden, just gets the yips and can't throw a football. But
There's something.
I don't want him to get hurt.
I don't want anyone to get hurt, but there's something that you triggered in the back of my brain, man. I don't know what it is.
You want to save the torn ACL.
You brought the darkness upon me, Gnarly Ray. No, I don't want him to have an ACL every year. Maybe 1 or 2 years.
I want him to play.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. This is all jokes. I don't want anyone to get hurt. But I think I don't want him to come back as a QB coach. I want him to come back as general manager.
Well,
owner.
I want him to come back as owner. That's what I want.
Well,
owner Philip Rivers.
That's not the question.
Best case
you Duggins. You always twist these questions to be like, I don't want either one of these. I would rather
no
this
thanks.
option
I'm gonna
over
body
here.
roll out of that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Philip Rivers coming back as a QB coach would be way more cooler than Mahomes tearing his ACL every year. I would like to see the Chargers kick Mahomes' ass
it's better when he's on the
year
field and we
with
beat
a
him,
fresh
actually.
ACL.
Yeah, that was
the best
that was a
ACL he
BS
has.
excuse when we beat him this year. Oh, Mahomes wasn't playing.
True.
Shut up.
True.
Yeah, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Yeah.
All right.
But you did
Your
trigger
backup's
the
real
darkness,
good.
I'm
You did.
holding you accountable, Gnarly Ray.
Nice job, Gnarly. You pushed Huggins' button. Congratulations. We move on now to Tiga, who asked the question. Any thoughts on the idea of taking our tackle of the future with the 13th pick and trade up to take a falling Farley? Sure, it would be risky, but Farley was once ranked top 10. And if he's at 20 or below, I think a trade up might be the move.
I love the beer fest German, dude. It's so good. Honestly, this was because we're getting ready in case we haven't mentioned it yet, but next episode is gonna be our mock draft episode.
Yes,
it's
you've
coming.
all been asking for it.
It's coming
It's
hard,
coming.
fast, and furious.
Yes.
But I've thought about this. I've thought about this exact situation. I don't want somebody that's injured drafting them, but where he's at and what he is before the injury, he's a top cornerback in the league. If you can get your Slater, you can get your Darisaw, and then you trade back up and your Kenneth Murray becomes Farley, I'd be happy with day one of the draft. That would be pretty sweet.
I'm looking at Coach, and he's got that Papa Duggan that
he disagrees.
I don't know. He doesn't look like he's feeling it. What are you thinking, Coach?
I know. I'm just trying to think through it because I mean it sounds great. It's just you. What do you?
Sounds great, but it's stupid.
Sounds good on
paper,
paper, but
Kevin, shut up, Kevin.
It's just a matter of what you have to give up to get there, right? Which is always the case. Because you basically last year what we did was we made our second round pick a first round pick and gave up a third round pick. So in all, we'll probably have to do something of the same sort. And yeah, you do. I don't know. I just think that like there's going to be options there at corner in our second round pick that don't have an injury issue. Maybe don't have the same kind of ceiling that a Farley has, but can come in and play right away without injury issues. Like an Asante, Asante Samuel Jr. is kind of the guy that I'm really, really hoping falls to us in the second round. But I don't know. Like last year, here's the thing. This year, this has kind of been like in the back of minds. Last year's move up, I think nobody
shook
saw
us
that
to our
coming.
core,
big time.
No one saw the Kenneth Murray trade up. And that's kind of how Tommy T goes. Like, if you have thought about an option of what a trade up might happen, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not doing it.
You know, it's like if another team thinks that that's what the trade up's going to be, they're going to mark it up and you're going to give up too much. He's like, oh yeah, we'll move back into the first round. Here's the third round pick. And they're like, okay, sweet.
Sounds good, Tommy. Thank you. But
yeah.
Oh.
But what do you do?
I don't know. I think there's enough depth at that DB position. But I wouldn't be pissed.
It's a fun hypothetical.
I don't know if I see it.
It's
a fun hypothetical.
It came across my desk, and I looked at it.
And you fill.
I don't know if I filed
it,
but it came across my desk.
You gave it a stamp.
Fill your
got something.
You fill your two biggest needs right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
All right. Well, it's a good thought. We'll see what happens. But thank you, Tiga. We move on to my cousin, Mark Woolley. Hey, this guy over here, his name is Mark. He's a good boy. You got to take care of him. All right, he's got something to say. It goes something like this.
Not a question. Just want to give you all a shout out. Keep up the great work and content. Y'all deserve all the things coming y'all's way. Bolt up, K. Love you, bye.
Oh, Mark.
Another wool dog. Love
My
it.
heart.
So kind.
It overfloweth.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
for
brother.
such kind words, man. Always good to hear from you. Hope
I like all the
everybody's-
y'alls too. We have a lot of these questions. Got a lot of y'alls.
That's Texas, baby. We don't just we got to talk about y'all. We can't just say you or youans. It's y'all. So excellent, Mark.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you
Thanks,
so
Mark.
much. We move on now to Curtis Loki, who asked the question: Is there a world where the Chargers pick Caleb Farley at 13?
There you go. It was my best Don LaFontaine, who did all of those in a world type trailers.
I don't think he's going at 13. The injury concerns too serious to somebody to risk a 13 pick, top 15 pick on him. I just don't think that happens.
Well, I think if that's the best available at 13, I think there's somebody else that's fallen. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a run on DBs, there's going to be another position group that
badass
fell.
lineman sitting
there. Something that had to have fallen for him to be best available at 13 at the cornerback position. So, I don't think there's a world. There's not a world.
There's
where
not a
we pick him at
world.
13. Yeah.
3 men, 1 podcast.
All
Not
right.
this world.
Not this world.
Not this lifetime. Thank you, Curtis. I think it's a great question, though. Thank you for asking it. We move on to Aaron Useri, who asks the question:
Who say it goes offensive tackle in the first round, offside cornerback in the second? What 2 players would you then like to see the Chargers take with those 2 third-round picks?
I like that one. I'm going Tommy Tremble. I think he could probably be our second in our 3rd round pick. I think we could grab him somewhere in there. So Tommy Tremble's the guy I'm kind of targeting. Did a little more research on him. Like, he is the best tight end, the blocking tight end in his class. And I think he can get better at, the passing game portion of what he did. So I'm going Tommy Tremble.
I'm with Tommy Tremble too. I'm on that train for sure if he's available at the 3rd round. I mean, I think if anything, that's also the point that if we are going to double dip in those positions that we talked about earlier, let's double dip in there. I mean, Eichenberg might fall that low. There might be some other guards or tackles that I think that could fall potentially to those spots.
What was your guy that was beating up trees at the Senior Bowl?
Oh, Quinn Miners.
Yeah.
Quinn Miners. Oh my God, give me Quinn Miners. If we get Quinn Miners in the 3rd or the 4th, oh my God. I would be so excited.
I don't know where he's going, but I think that makes sense, kind of where he probably should go.
Yeah.
In the 3rd or 4th, so that'd be kind of fun.
I'm all for it.
Dude, the guy put up some serious numbers at his his pro day. He was benching like a monster, so it was kind of cool to see. You love that guy.
I would be.
much.
I do. I would be so excited if we got that guy. Because I mean, like I talked about with the Craig experience, man. We talk about some of these names, and you get like really invested in some of these players, and he's just one of those guys. I don't know, man. There's something about him that just jumps off to me. I'm just like, oh my God, this would be such a change of pace to, I feel like, what we've had on the offensive line. So, yeah, give me Quinn Miners, baby. I think that would be so freaking cool.
Nice.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're gonna go Tommy Tremble. To me, would be an awesome pickup. Just having a guy that's a real true run blocker, and you've seen him do it at an elite level, and be able to learn from some of the pass catching tight ends that we have right now in the tight end room. I think that would be an awesome pickup. And then I think an interior offensive lineman. We have a thing with Notre Dame guys. A guy that some people have us like mocking there is Aaron Banks, the big guard,
big boy
out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when you have those two positions sealed up, if we can seal up tackle, corner in the first 2 rounds, or any combination of trading up, whatever it might look like, you just have freedom to take the best available. I think at that time. With the ability to build with what you got at that point. those are just the two biggest holes that absolutely need to get filled right now. So I think after that, then you have freedom to take best available. I think Tommy Trimble falls just in the third. That's a great value pick.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. We move on now to YNWA Dad. Good old YNWA Dad. He asked the question, what do you guys do on game days to stay connected to the Chargers community when you aren't going to the game? What do you guys do to feel the camaraderie when we win or cry into your beer together when we get kicked in the dick? Especially when you don't live in San Diego or LA and don't have Chargers bars you can go to and commiserate or celebrate with other Chargers fans.
I'm the losing side of it. I'm in Missouri. I can mention it all the time. I'm here by myself. There's like no Charger fans really here.
Kevin just goes to bed. He just falls asleep.
I just like power down. Power down.
Yeah, it's power down.
Right.
No, but I'll hit up halftime usually if things aren't going good. I'm calling all my Charger fans. Dude, how are we feeling? What's gonna happen? What do we do? Blah blah blah. And then at the end of the game, it's just like, I don't want to talk to anybody like this. I just want to just sit there. I usually put on a movie. Like I'll put on some inspirational thing. I'm like, Rocky or, Gladiator or some shit. Just something. No, nothing football related. I don't want to see the gridiron. I don't want to see that shit. I just want to watch like something like somebody overcoming something, because next week we're going to have to overcome what just happened. Forget about it. Move on. Yeah. So I'm trying to do it as quickly as possible. That's how I do. How do I do it? And I can't wait to hang out with you guys at SoFi. It'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, it will be a lot easier. Yeah, because when we win, boy, you guys know it because we do a quick instant reaction. Yeah, we can't contain it.
Yeah. Hopefully, we get a lot of those instant reactions this year. It'll be fun.
Fingers are crossed. That would be a great thing to have happen. So thank you, YNWA Dad. Always good to hear from you. We move on to Johnny, a.k.a. California John, who asked the question, what vets do you want to see the team sign in the post-draft free agency? Yes.
What did you want, Kyle?
Yeah, one of the guys that I think this is just kind of a homer pick, but I want to see us re-sign Melvin Ingram.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, pass rush is an absolute need, and I don't know if we signed anyone in the draft. The other person, another homer pick, will be Golden Tate, because he's still a free agent and have some family ties to Golden. He's an awesome dude, and I think that would be the coolest thing ever if Golden was on the Chargers. Yeah, and I think he adds a cool different dynamic to our wide receiver core. That we don't necessarily have. He is kind of that behind the line bubble. He's that yards after catch kind of guy. So I think that would be awesome. But yeah, those are two guys. I mean, it's all going to depend on what we do in the draft to decide who I want as like who I would prefer to have in free agency. But just like homer personal, this is who I want. Those are the two guys that if I got that ESPN alert that they were coming to the Chargers, I would lose my mind.
That'd be pretty cool. I was going to say exactly the same thing, Melvin Ingram. Right off the top of my head, that's the one I'd love to re-sign, because that immediately, brings the boys back together. And I know he had a down year last year, and he didn't play very much, so not everyone's that excited.
Give him that 1 year COVID year.
But he's been productive for us, and he definitely has the camaraderie with Joey, so that could be a good pickup if we could make it happen.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram would definitely be on the top of my list. The non-homer pick. I like the idea of picking up Malik Hooker. I know that there was injury concerns with him as well, but he's such a young player. Getting him while he's still in his prime, I think would be a great pickup, especially with safety not necessarily being in need, but if you could solidify that position, then that's just one less thing to be worried about going into this draft or even coming out of it, to be honest with you. So either way, yeah, I think Melvin Ingram is at the top of all of our lists. So great question, Johnny. Thank you for asking it. We move on now to Kanyeezy.
Oh,
my man.
Shit. Here he
Kanyeezy.
What has he got today?
Coming in hot. It goes something like this. What's up, dudes?
Just got done waxing my board. It reminded me of that time I learned to surf back in 2017. But by then, I was already a diehard brochacho. I was wondering, who did y'all want us to draft in that year's draft? Rivers wasn't totally on the decline, but I could see his time running short, so I wanted either Watson, big yikes, or Mahomes. We took Mike Will instead, and that really made me throw coconuts at my TV. Shout out to my little surfing brother, Ivan, from another mother for that TV. Anyway, you dudes enjoy your day. Time to swim with the dolphins. Ciao, man. Can't love you, bye.
You're a surfer.
Bye,
It's
Con
like-
Yeezy.
Con Yeezy writes for your character.
He does.
He
I
writes
love Con
perfectly
Yeezy.
for your character.
You're my favorite. You are my favorite. But great question. What a good time to look back at 2017, especially with as many people griping, for lack of a better term, about us picking up Mike Williams for that extra bit of money and not cutting him or trading him or anything like that. So when we look at this draft, you got to keep in mind that, like, you could look at this and go like, oh, Christian McCaffrey came right after and he was such a good running back. But it's like, but we had Melvin Gordon at the time. And obviously we know where that road took
why don't
us.
you just go ahead and just ruin my pick? Because that's exactly who I would have taken and said goodbye to Melvin Gordon and his unappreciated ass in Denver. Bye-bye. We don't need you. We'll cut.
That's you.
Hindsight
That's
is
you looking
2020.
at, you're looking at it from the hindsight. In 2017, who would you have
Christian
picked?
In this situation, the one I'm looking at is Christian McCaffrey. That is one pick after us was Christian McCaffrey. He was available. That is an easy flip-flopper for me because you can move on from Melvin Gordon at that point. And he was fumbling up till that point. So it wasn't
tumbling,
doing, being unappreciated. That's just what it is for him. So mine is Christian McCaffrey. Thanks for the lead in, Will.
But okay, so put yourself in 2017 shoes. If you saw us pick up Christian McCaffrey,
how do I do that?
Knowing that we had Melvin Gordon, would you be more upset? Because I think a lot of people were
in hindsight, now that I know what Christian
No, stop. That's not the question. The question is in 2017, your 2017 self, we pick up Christian McCaffrey. Now, a lot of people were upset that we picked up Mike Williams because we didn't feel like that was a need. That feels like we picked the best player available, and they thought it was Mike Williams. I mean, he was the second wide receiver that came off the board. So if you're in 2017, you're watching this, you're 4 years younger. God, you look so good, Kevin. How'd you get yourself to look so good? And we pick up
kids.
We're picking up Christian McCaffrey. Are you going, dude, we've got Melvin Gordon, man. Why are you picking up Christian McCaffrey? Or are you celebrating it in 2017?
Well, here's the problem. I don't think we're on the same page in terms of what this question is. This is looking back on 17. This isn't.
He said, who did y'all want to draft in that year's draft?
Yeah, it says,
who
did y'all want us to draft?
Truly, who I wanted, like the big name that year was Christian McCaffrey. Like that was the exciting pick. So when we didn't pick him, that's still my answer.
Okay.
Got it.
I'm just making sure.
Answer.
Because, hindsight, Christian McCaffrey is definitely the better running back.
He screwed me last year on fantasy, but it is what it is.
I mean, you can't. It's hard to get upset.
In terms of production, like that, everyone was saying he was going to be great, and he went one right after us. So that was an easy one for me.
Okay. Fair enough. Who are you thinking, Coach?
Yeah, I remember safety being like going into this draft. I remember wanting either Jamal Adams or Malik Hooker. I remember them being like the big debate. And I even think that that's what was like mock drafted to us a lot, was one of those two guys. And I remember Jamal Adams going right before us and like feeling this big like bummer letdown. Like, So then we picked Mike Williams. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. I had no idea who we were going to pick after that. Yeah. Right. So I do vividly remember wanting Jamal Adams, though, and him going right before us and being kind of bummed.
I mean, a lot of this is prior to me having a finger on the pulse of the draft. Like, I didn't necessarily keep that close at times. I'm a fan of the Chargers, but it's just like, I don't have any control over the draft. They're going to draft whoever they're going to draft. I'll look them up later.
Yeah.
I'll see what they're up to, what they're all about, and become a fan after we pick them up. But boy, looking at this draft class and who we could have picked up, because there's a lot of like tight ends. We didn't necessarily need a tight end at that point. But looking at some of these players and going and seeing TJ Watt all the way down to number 30 and how productive he's been in Pittsburgh, boy, that would have been a pretty sweet pick.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you take it from the like, who would you pick looking back? There's a lot of great players that were picked after us. Like Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes,
Right.
Marshawn Lattimore,
But thinking-
Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Like there's a Marlon Humphrey. There's a lot of great players. So looking back on it, yeah, like, but I think like gives you some unique perspective on this year's draft is maybe sometimes it is best to take best available and not the need, because 4 years down the road, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I'm glad we picked that best available that was sitting right there, even though it wasn't a need.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
That's a great point.
Where it's hard in the moment, but would you rather have had, like Kevin said, would you rather have had Christian McCaffrey? And I don't remember Christian McCaffrey being, I know he was a great college football player, but I remember some scouts having some like, I don't know if he's going to translate. I don't know if that Stanford offense, the way his running style, I think I remember some of that, but even besides him, like, there's a lot of great players in the first round that are better, arguably, than Mike Williams' career has been so far. But so it's just an interesting perspective and reminder going into this year.
100%. Great question, Kanyeezy. Thank you for asking.
Buddy.
It. Now we move on to C. Densley 11, who asks the question: are there any specific players that, if they were to land on a rival's team, would pose a big problem for the Chargers? For example, if Fields or Lance falls to the Broncos, that offense could take a big leap. Chiefs picking up a top offensive tackle, etc. Sorry about that.
I think the one you got to worry about is Denver, because I'm not too worried about the Raiders. They make just dumb, poor decisions. They just
who's the fastest guy?
I think that's the funniest thing about this question is they don't even list Raiders being a concern.
Dude, they just cut all of their best part of their team was their offensive line. They just guys wanting out. Like that's big. Not many people want out of contracts. Like that was interesting. So I'm not worried about the Raiders. I think the biggest thing, honestly, is the Broncos, because their defense is always good and they're getting Von Miller back. So them getting one of these top quarterbacks like that is a concern, because the Broncos fans love to tell you how much they love Drew Lock, but guess what? I love that they love Drew Lock because he sucks.
Right.
Because he sucks. So that's the big one for me. Kansas City can do whatever they want. They're still going to be good.
They're going to be good no matter what.
So whoever they pick is just adding to that. So we're just going to have to combat it. But the one, would you rather have a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race? I prefer 2. The odds are better. So I'm hoping, Denver doesn't land one of these top quarterbacks especially top quarterbacks that has legs. We're dealing with Mahomes all the time. Do you want to deal with another quarterback that can run on you and you have to play him twice a year? Like, it's not my favorite thing to see these guys scrambling and get yardage on us. But in Staley, we trust. Hopefully our defense will be better.
You hit the nail on the head there, Huggin.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Densley. We move on now to Okie Doggy, who asked the question.
With one more week until the draft is upon us, are there any players you guys have looked at that are getting the same treatment as Justin Herbert last year that you feel would be good players in the league or our team? As in prospects who have been good for most of their collegiate career, and then they end up being written off for whatever reason by scouts, GMs, PFF, our own fans, etc., even though they were in bad situations in general and made the most of it.
What's the voice? What is that voice?
So he requested an ASMR voice, which ASMR is like
you're hearing like the sounds, like I'm going to hold a can up and I'm going to kind of crinkle it. And people just like to listen to the sounds. So some people like listening to the voice. So you get right up in it. So it's like I'm right up in your ear and you're hearing all my lips.
Oh, stop, gross, stop, gross. Yeah, I like it.
All right. Well, that's a unique one. Thank you for the question, Okie Doggy. And
I like it.
And I think it's a great question too about players getting the same treatment as Justin Herbert.
Herbert's unique, dude. It's unique in the sense that I haven't heard anybody talk yet about somebody being too quiet and reserved and can't be a leader of men. Like that was the most bizarre take I had heard in a long time on why somebody's not qualified to be drafted properly. So do you guys know of anyone currently? I guess Fields is getting some shade.
Fields is getting some shade. I mean, even the take on Herbert was very specific, but the idea, the general consensus being that like he's not going to work well in the NFL. He will not transfer well, or just not live up to expectations in general. Yeah. So I think people like, I mean, Justin Fields has just been getting some weird shade lately. I don't understand that whatsoever.
Yeah, dude, he was on our favorite, what was that documentary he was on? QB1. He's on Netflix. He's on QB1. They just followed him in high school, and like the dude's a monster. So yeah.
But I mean, as far as a good fit for this team, I think you could throw fairly into that conversation, like the concern with him being more injury and whether or not he would still live up to the expectation of being in the position that he was. I think that would probably be the closest fit as far as being somebody that could fit with our team, or as far as a need that we might have. I think Fairley might be that biggest one, honestly.
I have some weird, like the things that people get hung up on, like the one with Slater and that his arms aren't quite long enough.
Like I think that's a great take too.
There's things that people get hung up on that, like, you know, you watch what he did to Chase.
Yeah.
You know, what you did he need that extra inch on his arm length? Like, oh, it's that underwear Olympics thing you were talking about, Kyle. You know, it's like people want to break down the stuff so much that it just becomes like, all right, well, you're looking for reasons now.
Yeah. It's a lot of this stuff is like you just have to overanalyze everything because there's so much writing on these draft picks.
Yeah.
Yet they still get it wrong a lot of the
50% of the time. It's like you 51% of first rounders hit. That's a coin toss, dude. You are being so critical of hand size and arm length instead of just watching the guy play football
and neck circumference now on NFL.com. Like, does he have a thick enough neck
to do
seriously. The job? I don't know.
It's crazy. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess the Farley thing, that's the guy that he could fall because of injury issues, but like that's like an injury trying to overlook type of thing. So I don't know. Like that's the hard part is you never know until a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later when they do bust or boom. So
I think outside of that though, there hasn't been too much shade, I think, being thrown around outside of the ones
we don't know yet until that person blows up.
Still like 10 days to go. So you'd be surprised.
You can't get here soon.
We'll find out if there's any more bong masks. We'll find out pretty quick.
Need Laramie tonsils out there.
Yeah, we got to get some Photoshop people on that.
Yeah, let's get on that.
All right. Thank you, Okie Doggy. We move on now to Adam Buddy, who asked the question.
I'm an oil man. Who's the biggest number free agent still available that you think would bolster the roster? I personally think there's a boatload of guys out there still. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Dude, that was such a good one, Adam. That just launched into my top 5 voices, dude. Yes. Daniel Plainview from
I'm an oil man.
Great movie. There Will Be Blood is a great movie if you haven't seen it.
That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this a little bit. What you got, Kyle?
Yeah, I talked about like the safety position. I think would be a good cheap option because we do have some money left there in the cap, but some of it's going to be saved for in-season moves. I don't see it being a tackle type prospect. potentially a corner. I don't know. This is getting to be like so many ifs and whats and this and that I'm starting to get lost in the whole thing. I'm falling down that
shame spiral. He's shame spiraling.
Rabbit hole.
He's shame spiraling, guys.
Yeah. Somebody get him. Somebody throw him a life raft. There's still a ton of big names out there that could potentially fit to this team. I mean, almost all the guys that I think we've picked up were not guys that we anticipated coming to this team as far as who we've picked up in free agency so far. So there still could be guys out there that like we didn't even think about. But
you didn't think Oday Hairspray was going to come to the Chargers?
I'll be honest with you.
I didn't know who he was.
It never crossed my mind.
Me neither.
So, but great question, though. Thank you, Adam, buddy. Great name, by the way. We move on now to Pyro KM47, who asked the question.
Hey, what's up, Holmes? The AFC looks like it's going to be stacked against this year, I say. With us making the playoffs, who you vatos think the other 6 teams will be? Ask Boltfam, K love you, bye. That was almost French.
You were like
you went French.
French Mexican.
Hey, essay, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle Claude.
I'm okay.
All right. Sorry to all the vatos out there.
Sorry, bro.
The other 6 teams.
Other 6 teams. Wow, what a specific question.
I think you're always looking at, Kansas City, you're looking at the Steelers. I think you just got to put those in there for sure. Those are my 2. What you guys got? You pick 2. Each one of you guys pick 2 more.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win the AFC East again because they're just a good team, well coached, good organization. I think the Bills are going to win. I don't think the Patriots could ever go back-to-back seasons without making the playoffs.
So they're probably making it.
I think the Pats will get back. And then you get one team from the AFC South, flip a coin. I don't know. The Titans, I guess.
That makes sense. Titans work. They're they've been hanging in there lately. That
they're
makes
solid.
sense.
Yeah, they got a running game. They'll beat every game.
They kicked us out of that one. Remember when we lost the tie breaks and stuff that one year? We didn't go to the playoffs because the Titans. That one game we were just kind of waiting to see how it ended, and it got screwed.
All right. Thank you, Pyro KM47. Moving on to the glorious end, who asked the question. If you guys had the chance to announce a draft pick, where would you want to be and how would you do it? I'd do it with a nice Chianti.
That's a good question. I love
nice hypothetical.
I loved how they did it last year, where it was on the pier and they had the fans there and they had players there. Like that'd be a cool place to do it. I wouldn't want to go up in front of all those fans booing you. That would suck. Does not sound like fun being at the actual draft to do it. So I would say with Boltfam, with my people. That's right.
I think that's good.
It's a cool question. I hadn't really thought about it.
I'd like to be in San Diego hosting the year that the Chargers returned to San Diego. And I'd like to be at the draft with you 2.
Okay.
And we have it on our stomachs. It's number 12 pick. Yeah. And then the other person's stomach has the name of the player.
And the other person has the college. I like that. I like the idea of doing it with Boltfam, though. That seems like the best way to go about it.
The San Diego aspect of that was a nice little twist you put on.
That was. I like it.
Kevin just doesn't care about San Diego.
I do. I'm a realist a little bit in some ways, but yes, I feel.
Let me dream. Fucking older brothers just crushing dreams.
It's what we're here for. It's what we do for a living. Calm down.
Apparently.
All right. It was a good twist. I didn't see it coming. I liked it. Thank you.
M. Night Shyamalan,
Yes.
Yeah, it was better than I don't know what I would do. I guess.
At least you made an effort. At least you made an effort this time, Kyle. That was good.
Made an effort.
No, I'm saying that's
good
hustle.
Your answer. Good hustle. All right.
Good hustle.
Let's move it. Let's move it on now to Z the King 1, who asked the question.
I've been seeing a lot of Badgley slander recently in Chargers communities. Personally, I know we had a rough year, but so did the rest of our special teams. Same can be said for Koo and Lambo before we cut them and they went on to be really freaking good. What are your thoughts / expectations for him this year? And if you feel he needs to go, what do you think we should do to make sure we don't have repeats of the year we had to go for 2 after every TD because our punter was the only player that could win wild accuracy left?
That was impressive.
That was a
That
long
seemed
sentence.
very hard. SpongeBob was intense.
Two after every touchdown because our punter was the only player that could kick with mild accuracy left.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. The same time last year, I was like, yeah, we got the best kicker in the league. So it's hard. You asked for one thing from them, and that's to make your kicks, and he didn't do that very well last year. So I don't know. I really don't know what the kicker situation. I'm trusting the coaches to evaluate our situation.
For sure.
Yeah, and why a kicker does good on one team and poorly at the next, it may be because he got that swift kick in the nuts and he had to figure his crap out.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not do any good to hold him and baby him and allow him second, third, fourth chances. He might need that kick in the nuts to be good. And unfortunately, it just wasn't with us. Hopefully we get some other kicker that got kicked in the nuts that we bring, then he'll be good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. Fucking kickers. I don't know.
Right.
Nobody knows what goes on in their head. They can be good one game and bad the next. I don't know.
I think it's safe to say we love Badgley as a person.
Yes.
And he's had some great flashes.
We like him as a kicker. We love
him as a kicker when he's great. When he's not, you're tough to love, Mr. Badgley.
We're pulling for the guy, but if he starts to miss
Yeah.
kicks, we won't be happy.
Yeah, we'd love to see Badgley still in the team, but if for whatever reason the off-season competition seems to show more of a promise than he does, then you got to trust the coaches to make the right decision and go with who they think.
There was a fun thing floating around where they're adding like a 1 point if you could kick it through the uprights on a kickoff.
Yeah, that's right.
Badgley would be out of the league if that was an option.
He adds no value.
No value. You got to bring in strong leg guys at that point. So I don't know. I know that's just like a hypothetical. I don't know how serious that was, but that's real.
It came up. So I mean, somebody had to say it. So it was serious enough for somebody to say it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Z the King. We move on to Chris M, who asked the question.
Given how close most of our losses were last year, which of those games, if played this year, do you think we would still lose?
Yeah, I'm Patriots. We're still losing that game no matter what. We were not prepared. They had a better game.
Yeah, well, that one wasn't close.
Not even freaking. There's no way that game changes. So that's the easy answer. That's the easiest answer. I think
if it's a close game, we could have won it. Like we should have. A lot of we should have won it.
Most of them, like the Saints game, man, we should have won that game.
The
Bucks game,
the Chiefs game.
Yeah,
they're all
so many games we should have won. The Buffalo game. Like there were so many games that we should have won. That's why last year was so frustrating because we had this stud quarterback and we were almost winning these games. So
with the worst line in the NFL, and we still
almost won. Dude, we could have had 10 wins easy if we would have just picked up a couple of those close games. So that was what last year was so frustrating about last year.
It's a whole new year, folks, with a whole new line, too, as well. So thank you, Chris M. We appreciate it. We move on now to Jamin Corey Rat. I don't think I pronounced that right, but it's your turn. So here you go. You asked the question.
It's your turn.
I'm grateful to have SoFi Stadium as the new home for the Chargers, but I ask, what is the most memorable game for you guys at Qualcomm Stadium that you went to?
The most memorable for me would have been the last game that was played at the Q. We got to go see, and Philip signed a bunch. He was like out there signing stuff for everybody. That was the most like memorable, just because I'll never forget that, like with my dad and my brother running down and having Phil sign a bunch of stuff and leaving the queue for the last time. That's the most I'll remember.
Well, that one was crazy for me because I think the year I got my jersey signed was like the year that they were there's the last 2 years at Qualcomm where the second to last one, it was like they could be gone.
This might be the last.
And
game.
I don't think it was the last game at the stadium. It was that first season where We Might Be Gone was like heavier because I'd prepared myself, and that was the last game where I ran down and got Phil, like literally saw my jersey, came over to me and signed it. Like that was the just that experience of that, like being like bummed out emotionally that this might be the last one, and then getting that signed was amazing. Weird answer. I know you're probably looking for like a big win or something, but that was the most memorable for me, at least.
Yeah, sadly, I didn't go to many Charger games at Qualcomm. I went to more Padre games than anything else. But I did go to at least one that I can remember, and the only memory, sadly, that I have is it had to have been with you, and I think we were sitting next to some New York Jets fans.
Yeah, it's
who
the
were
Jets playoff game.
Fucking obnoxious. It was so annoying, and then it was a game that we didn't win, so it was just all them
missed field goal at the end. Like one
that
of those
was
Kading
so
games. Yeah,
annoying. It was so just like, wow, this sucks. So I don't have any fond memories, sadly, of the Chargers at Qualcomm. I like I said, I mostly went to Padre games. So again, probably not the answer you were looking for, but that's the answer that I got. So thank you, Jamin Corey Rat, for bringing up such fond memories. We move on
thanks,
to
man. Appreciate it.
Boltaholic, who asked the question, will any of you guys get a Chargers tattoo when the Chargers win a Super Bowl? If so, what would it be? Justin Herbert voice, please.
No.
Okay, love you, bye.
Oh, how dare you treat our boy in such a manner?
He's such a young kid. I love him.
That's easy. I 100% am getting a tattoo if we win the Super Bowl. I got a whole spot planned, and I'm gonna do a whole bunch of players.
Got a plot of land.
Yeah, I got a plot of land, and then all saved up. But yeah, I got some plans. I'm gonna try and do like Seau, LT.
Oh wow,
Phil on there,
a little Schein,
just like on the shoulder, just like something like big, just like all encompassing my Charger fandom. That's what I'll do.
Nice,
and on the bottom, worth the wait.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm all for getting a Charger tattoo if we win the Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah. So I have a Charger tattoo, but I'll get another one. Just says Dean Spano. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna get.
We're never gonna get any kind of affiliation with the Chargers with Kyle on this podcast.
Oh, it's so funny. I'm just kidding. I probably will get another one. I don't know what though. Not that though. It's just funny. Dean Spano.
Yeah, that sounds good.
He is dug in.
Just funny.
He is dug in. All right. Well, we go out now on our final Bolt fam question. Came in right under the gun. D. Jeebs. Congratulations. You're the last one out on this. And you asked the question. It goes something like this. Puny Americans, I have question for you. What do you think about drafting Tommy Tremble and using him as a tight end / fullback? I know how much you guys like neighbors, though. Ha ha. Also, the name is pronounced Jeebs. The D is silent. Stupid Americans. Tell Craig I will crush him in this puny experience. Oh, yeah. And fuck the radios. Just a joke, Craig. Don't hunt me. Don't hurt me. LOL. Okay, love you. Bye. До свидания.
Tell him what you requested.
They requested, obviously, a Russian, but specifically,
obviously,
Craig's Russian rival bodybuilder. There you go. No D. Jeebs wanted that, so.
His D is silent.
The D is silent.
Stupid Americans.
Oh, God.
That was too funny.
Thank you for ending us with that.
Of course. Yeah, I think we're all pretty high on Tommy Tremble, though. I think bringing him in would be a great addition. I know we're pretty stacked up on tight ends as it is, but none of them necessarily feel like a future of the franchise in that position.
Right.
So drafting somebody like Tommy and plugging him in and giving him a chance to work with some of these other tight end talents, I think would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be awesome.
Totally.
All
I'm
right.
on board. I want Tommy Tremble.
Cool name too.
Yeah, totally.
To have two Tommy T's on the team would be
Make 'em
pretty
tremble.
spectacular.
His name is Tommy T, and he goes to Notre Dame. Like, there's no way we don't.
Yeah,
draft.
I think we would be surprised if he didn't get drafted.
His name is Tommy T. He's from Notre Dame.
Okay.
He probably was a Colt at some time and went to John Carroll or wherever.
Grew up next to Green Bay Stadium or something like that. Lambeau Field. All right. Well, all right, folks. That's it for this episode. Finally, thank you all for sticking around with us. And again, don't forget to check out Twitter for Jen Mills for her giveaway. Look up all the statistics. We all want you to get entered. We all want you to have a chance to win some of this cool swag that she's giving away. And we can't be thankful enough for her offering some of this swag for us to give away on this podcast. So as always, folks, don't forget to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Get ready for our draft episode coming next week.
Oh,
K-love
yes.
you, bye. K-love you, bye.
K-love you, bye.
Kid love you, bye.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey there, Frankie! Your hairdo's looking mighty fine today. What do you put in that stylish do? Mousse? Gel? What's that? You use Oday Hairspray? That's right, folks. To get you looking fine for Friday night, trust no other product on the market like Oday Hairspray. Guard your hair and look your best with Oday Hairspray. Oday Hairspray. It's the Est Bay for your air hay.